Apex Formula Renault Challenge. We race today at one of the most iconic circuits in Formula One, Silverstone, located at a former airfield in the United Kingdom, featuring fierce direction changes, massive braking zones, and a wicked combination of high and low speed corners. There will be no respite for the drivers today as the championship pressure is relentless and the stakes grow even more costly. To get us underway today, please give a big welcome to your commentator, Chris Stevens.
Welcome to the home of British motorsport. We are at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for the fourth round of the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. My name is Chris Stevens and I'll be your lead commentator this evening. Tonight I've got a special guest joining me in the commentary booth live from the cockpit. It's Richard Spanners-Redding.
Hey Chris, how's it going? Yes, a unique challenge to talk to you and offer you some insight whilst driving around and competing in this round. Of course, Chris, Catman Turner normally keeps company unavailable this week.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll have him back at the next round. But I'm looking forward to having you alongside me in the commentary booth and giving us some great insights from inside the cockpit. We can currently see the championship leader, Danny Henney, on track and is indeed at the top of the timings of this session. He's actually just coming up to pass you, Spanners.
Yeah, Danny Henney, of course, one of the strongest competitors in the field, and he's been working with quite a few of the field over the week. He just enjoys teaching people. He gets a lot of satisfaction about improving people's lap times, and it's very frustrating as about 5 of the midfield guys have overtaken me.
Well, hopefully you can catch them back up at some point. Henney leading the standings at the moment on a 1:58.391. And he's been doing his practice starts as well. We've seen him down on the grid before we went on air. He's currently ahead of Gregory Leader, who is second fastest at the moment. About a quarter of a second back. And then we've got the usual suspects, the likes of Stephen Williams and Tim Ellis, now second in the championship after David Hatton was unable to score points at the final race in Suzuka.
Of course, we should remember that there is 2 drop rounds over the course of the 7 here on the Missed Apex series this season. So Hatton, we're expecting Hatton to come back into the title.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing he's got going for him is the number of podiums that he has scored so far this season, 4 and a win, compared to Henney's 3 wins and 5 podiums. So that's why there's a bit of a gap in the overall standings at the moment. But once we take into account the drop scores, that does close up a little bit. Tim Ellis has really come on strong as well. Obviously, our most recent race winner, that fantastic last lap pass that he made for the lead at the last round at Suzuka. And speaking of which, we can actually bring you up to speed with how we've gotten to this point in the championship so far with a little catch-up. Season 2 of the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge kicked off at the Nürburgring, where Danny Henney and Alexander Dobesberger brawled for the lead in race 1. Dobesberger fancies another run at him into the chicane, and this could be Dobesberger's one opportunity to take the lead of the race, and Henney has to let him through. Here comes Alexander Dobesberger to win his second Formula Renault Challenge race. Henney would redeem himself in race 2 as he came through the field to win in the first of the 2 reverse grid races. Here comes Danny Henney to take his first victory of the season. Basso in second, and James Wingfield is just gonna sneak over the line in third place. Reigning champion David Hatton took the final honours of the night, sending out a statement that he would not be relinquishing his title easily. Maybe he isn't the absolute fastest guy in the field, but he knows how to put in a damn good lap time and how to navigate the field safely. And here he comes to take his first victory of the season. Hatton was true to his word, as 3 podium finishes at Imola earned him the championship lead, while Henney, after a strong victory in race 1, faced a difficult evening. They go into the Variante Alta for the final time. Danny Henney is making his way out of Rivazza corner for the final time and comes across the line to take his second victory of the season. And David Hatton will come across the line in second place with Tim Ellis in third place. It's underway and Dobesberger leads the field away. And Ismail Basso settling there into second place.
Comes Hatton to the outside of the first chicane.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to make it around the outside. It's going to be all on the brakes. If he can make it work, he can. Fantastic maneuver from David Hatton. Meanwhile, Alexander Dobesberger comes across the line and takes the victory in race 2 from pole position. Dobesberger's race 2 win kept him in the title hunt. We are away for the start of race 3. But all eyes were on Stephen Williams as he battled his way to a maiden victory in race 3. As they come back towards the Villeneuve chicane, he's been able to hold on for now. There's John Lang and Stephen Williams side by side. Lang got ahead, and now Williams coming back at him on the outside of Tosa. And Lang getting a little squeeze there, I think, as he got very, very close to the back of Alex Drilsmer's car. And once again, Williams has got the run to draw alongside. And is he going to try and make it round the outside of Piratella? No way through. Cuts back inside again, and he has drawn alongside. Is he going to be able to draw clear at Aqua Minerale? Yes, he is. Stephen Williams leads at Imola. Stephen Williams takes his first Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge victory. Henny was untouchable in the first race at Suzuka.
Danny is not pulling away. He's still within a second at the front, and Hatton is still under massive pressure from car power, coming down towards 130 yards.
But all eyes were on the battle behind as Luca Harrison took his first podium in the series. Luca Harrison is currently slipstreaming his way towards Tim Ellis and actually draws alongside this time towards the chicane. Is he going to be able to outbrake him when he gets there? Can he get it around the outside and take second place? Yes, he can. Meanwhile, here's Danny Henny to take the victory in Suzuka. Hatton trying to sneak up and take the podium, placing it side by side across the line. Can't do it. While the championship protagonists struggled to get through the field on the high-speed circuit. 3 wide into turn 1. Hatton's up on the curb. He's almost lost it. He's gone out wide. What a magnificent save. But he's dropping positions left, right and centre now. Brian Boomsma redeemed himself of a heartbreaking crash while in the lead at Imola with a stunning maiden win. Here comes Brian Boomsma to take his first ever Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge victory. As soon as he took the lead, he did not relinquish it. A masterful drive. David Hatton lost out on any points with connection issues in race 3, opening up the door for fellow title rival Tim Ellis to take a timely first win of the season with a thrilling final gasp manoeuvre. With just a few corners to go, and Drilsmer up on the curb, but Ellis has made it stick. Fantastic manoeuvre, and Drilsmer was forced to submit. And at the absolute final opportunity, Tim Ellis takes the lead of the race and is going to come to take his first victory of the season. All that leaves Henny 12 points clear in the championship standings, with Ellis now ahead of Hatton in second place. Stephen Williams retains his lead in the gold standings, with Lucas Raskovitz now taking the lead of the silver grade. One of my absolute highlights of this season so far, that last lap battle for Tim Ellis to take his first victory of the season. And of course that round, a fantastic highlight for this man, Brian Boomsma, taking his first win in the Formula Renault Challenge as well.
Yeah. I have to say, maybe it's worth commenting a little bit on the various driving styles, because when you mention Brian Boomsma, he is absolutely uncompromising. If he thinks there's a gap, if he thinks he's faster, he just makes it your problem. And he's cultivated quite an on-track presence amongst the other drivers, where if they see the orange car and they notice that it's Boomsma, they drive differently now around him.
And a timely little 360 down at Stowe Corner for Boomsma. But very much a presence on the track, especially with that classic Arrows-esque livery of the orange and black, and almost national colours for him as well. It's a fantastic livery he's got on that car. Give you an update on some of the timings. The reigning champion, David Hatton, a little late to join the session, as he often is. I don't know how he does it, just comes in and within a few minutes puts himself up towards the front of the field. He's currently 4th fastest. 6/10 off of the benchmark that Danny Henny has set. That might be an alarming gap to some, but come qualifying, I'm sure David will be able to string something together. Plenty of guys who could take pole position today. Danny Henny reckons that there's about 10 people who have the pace to win around here tonight. Of course, we've got 3 races. The feature race, worth 60 points, and then 2 top 20 reverse grid races, both worth 50 points each.
And those reverse grid races are an absolute gold mine for the midfield, because that 20th place is much sought after. And I know some people will go, oh, well, a reverse grid pole isn't worth anything. For the guys between kind of 15th and 30th, it's a real prize. Like, people will be scrapping hard for that 20th place.
Absolutely. And of course, gets you up at the front of the field and on the stream as well, which I know a lot of our guys love.
Yeah, and it gives you a chance to dice up front with people around your speed range until the fast guys start coming through. But if you can hold off long enough out the front while they're fighting each other, the likes of Ellis and Hatton and Boomsma might well, come wheel to wheel, and there's a bit of attrition, and then you find yourself with a top 10, which, that's the only way I get into the top 10.
Well, I have to say, when we saw this at Suzuka last time out, sometimes the top guys can really struggle to come through the field. And Suzuka was a prime example of that. I think they didn't get any higher than 5th place, maybe, was the sort of norm. Whereas, normally we'd see them come back and fight for podiums.
Now, you can pass here. This is an interesting track, because whilst the cars are sort of somewhat underpowered for this track, there's not the challenge that you're going to fly off into a wall like a Monaco or a Baku or a Macau. However, there's plenty of runoff, so you can survive. But what it means is that there is a big time gap between the guys who can be very precise and the guys like me who are in survival mode. So my normal advantage around a tight track, which is just survive, like Suzuka, that disappears here. Here it's going to be, I think, you're going to see the fastest guys out at the front doing better.
It's about bravery in the high-speed corners, this track, I think. And, these little Formula Renault cars, obviously nowhere near as much downforce as some of the top-tier single-seaters that can fly through some of these corners completely flat out at breakneck speeds, and they can look a little slow. It can feel a little slow sometimes. I definitely got that impression when we've raced here at the past.
It doesn't feel slow in the cockpit, I'll say that for one thing. But yeah, so like one of the reasons that I was able to agree to do this was because I knew this would be a weak round for me. Very few braking zones. There's a couple of big stops, but a lot of the braking that we do here is just a light touch just to get yourself around the corner, a light touch just to adjust the angle or lift off the throttle just to get the nose in. And that's not my strength. My strength is on the brakes. So I was kind of making up the numbers here anyway.
Yeah, and of course the trail braking into those sort of slightly bigger stops is very important as well.
Yeah,
and,
Brooklands, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you who's very good at that. It's Kyle Power. And he is the man who's going to guide us around this Silverstone Grand Prix circuit, the 3rd different configuration of the Silverstone circuit that we have used for the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. So here's Kyle to tell you more about this track.
Hey, it's Kyle here. Let's jump on board with me for a reasonably hot lap of the mighty Silverstone circuit. We're coming out of the final turn now and onto the start and finish straight. We're going to be in 6th gear and looking for the end of the red barrier on the right hand side for our reference point to turn into Abbey. Slight lift and straight back on the throttle before the apex hit the curb, carry a lot of speed through this. Take a cheeky bit of 7th gear before looking for the final marker board on the left hand side. Brake late and deep and trail brake all the way to the apex, down to 2nd gear, back up to 3rd briefly before back down to 2nd and trying to hook up this apex on the left hand side just like I didn't there. Try to open up the wheel as best you can to minimise the scrub on the front tyres onto the Wellington straight. Not a lot to do here apart from maximise your gear changes. We're going to be in 7th gear before looking for the gap in the final 2 marker boards on the right hand side for our braking point into Brooklands. Trail brake in and take a very late apex on the left hand side there in 3rd gear, brilliant. Down into 2nd gear, wait for the front tyres to connect in Luffield. Now you can straighten the wheel and power through to the exit. Important to try to get the car to rotate into that corner. On to the international start and finish straight now. We're going to be up into 7th gear approaching Copse Corner. We're going to have a waffle thin wisp with the brakes and down to 6th gear, important to carry as much speed as possible. Nibble this curb on the inside and straight back on the power all the way through to the exit. Now we're approaching the fearsome Maggots and Beckett's complex. This is all about carrying apex speed. Flat out left, flat out right, abuse the track limits, hit the brakes, down 2 gears, hit the apex again, down another gear, try to hook more of our apex up there and carry good speed through. Hard on the power all the way onto the hanger straight. Again, not a lot to do here, apart from maximising the gear changes, we're going to be flat out into 7th gear for the blind entry to Stowe. We're looking for the final marker board on the left hand side before we brake, come down 3 gears. Important to get this apex on the right hand side before coming straight back onto the throttle again and approaching the final complex of Vale. We're looking for the second marker board. We're going to brake here, down to 2nd gear, try to get this first apex, hit the throttle, blip the throttle to get some weight on the front before hitting the throttle again and opening up the wheel to maximise your exit speed, and that comes around to complete the lap. That is a 1 minute 59.2 second lap. That should put you well inside the top 10, but I would imagine the Hennies and the Hattons of the world will be deep into the 58s come race day.
Great insight from Kyle, who took his first podium in this series at this very circuit. I believe it was on the Legacy layout, the pre-2010 configuration, and he'll be going for his 3rd this evening. Just a reminder, we are live streaming on the YouTube channel, Missed Apex Motorsport. So if you aren't joining us in the live chat room, then please do so. We've already got James Cotton thinks that Spanners is cool. So there's a nice little boost for Spanners ahead of his night of racing. But if you haven't already, do please hit subscribe, like the stream and the videos that we upload, leave a comment. These things really do make a difference for us. So thanks for your continued support. Just under 4 minutes left in this session. Danny Henney still fastest on a 58.391. And Boomsma, while we were watching those VTs, has popped himself up into 3rd place. So one to watch in qualifying for sure. And looking at the pace at the moment, it's about 1 second that covers the top 12. And on what is pretty much a 2 minute lap. Oh, as Henny goes for a little spin out at Brooklands. And he certainly won't want to be doing that in qualifying. But yeah,
I don't mind. I don't mind if he does that, Chris.
Do you think he'd still be ahead of you if he did?
I think so. How many have we got in the session?
That is a good question. At least 35. 36 drivers we currently have registered for this. So good job we're on the Grand Prix layout. Nice 5 and a bit kilometres of space to play with in qualifying, which has been a key aspect of the qualifying, really, finding your space.
Oh, absolutely. If you can get out there early on and get yourself in a nice place in the chain for the qualifying session, it's an open quality, so you can do as many laps as you like within the time limit, then you're okay. If you find yourself out of sync on a tight track and then suddenly on your out lap, it's just impossible to find a gap. I think at Suzuka we had 42, 43 people. A lot of people busy, of course, because it's the Christmas period, taking this as a drop round, but 36 is still impressive. I think it's still going to be a challenge to get out there and find yourself a gap, but that all adds to the fun of it and mixes it up a little bit.
Absolutely. Speaking of mixing things up a little bit, we've been mixing things up in the Swarm on the iRacing officials lately. We've started the Formula 3 season, which of course is going to be coming to the Missed Apex Formula 3 challenge, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah, so for the people who don't know, Missed Apex, we take on the official iRacing series as well as running our own, and we join in and we all have kind of team colours and we race as the Swarm, and pretty much all the Missed Apex panel are involved in that, actually, all the ones that do sim racing anyway. And yeah, we're attacking the F3 series and it's pretty cool. You know, we jump in there. If there's 100 people registered, say, for the official F3 race, it splits it up into 4 splits based on your ability level, and then we will have maybe 5 in the top split, 7 in the second split, etc., all in your uniform, and it's like you've got 4 teammates on track. It's a lot of fun.
It is absolutely fantastic. I've thoroughly enjoyed the first Swarm season that I've done. Oh, and another spinner right in front of Danny Henney this time. That was James Wingfield. But yeah, fantastic season, the Formula Renaults last season, and now moving into the Formula 3s, making that transition period for when this series switches to Formula 3 next season. And I've got to say, it's nice to see Danny Henney back at the front of the field. He was really struggling in the Formula 3 opener earlier this week. I will say I had a bit of a shocker as well, but I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to talk about these guys.
Hey, look, the challenges between the Formula Renault 2.0 and the F3 that we will be moving to are completely different. Like these Formula Renault 2.0s, if you see just the back end disappearing on a lot of the cars, it is so hard to hang on to the car. If you give it anything, the rear end is just unstable, so you have to nurse it and coax it through. Whereas with the Formula 3, you can be a bit more aggressive on it. You can actually slide it, which you can't really do with this. And it's two very different challenges. So with the F3, we'll have more field spread as the skill level required is higher. But for this one, for the FR2, it's just harder to keep it on the road.
Absolutely. So checkered flag has just gone out. That's the end of practice, and we're now moving into the qualifying session.
So during the competitive bits, Mr. Stevens, I will obviously dip out a little bit and concentrate.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck to you, Spanners. Have fun with that. So we're going to try and follow as many cars as we can. We've got Kyle at the moment, just tucked up underneath Andy Flagg. I believe these are the first two cars out of the pits. So Flagg leading them away for the outlap at the moment. I'm sure Carl's going to try and find his way through, get some clean air in front of him. Yeah, they're going to be scrapping already, not even lights out for the race yet. So, as is often the case with these qualifying sessions, the first 2 or 3 laps are often about just warming up the tyres. The best times will probably come around lap 4, lap 5, which is probably all we're going to be able to get in this 10-minute session.
There's also a choice of fuel loads as well, so you can fuel up for the whole session, or you can go out a little bit lighter and see if you can, put yourself under a bit more pressure, which is what I've done, because I think naturally I'm going to qualify 30th, so I'm just trying to give myself any advantage I can.
Interesting to hear those tactics. I usually just load it up for a 10-minute session and just try and run what I can. So Barry Kemp and Mark Greenhow just in the background as they come onto the hangar straight and will be starting their first flying laps very soon. So Carl hasn't been able so far to find himself some clear space. I wonder if he'll try and stay with Andy Flagg for a slipstream, or if he'll try and gap him coming into the Vale chicane. Yep, he's slowing up. So let's Andy Flagg go, and Barry Kemp behind him is going to have to do the same thing. Now they launch it. Bit of a traffic jam going on behind them, but first flying laps getting underway now.
Problem with getting a slipstream here is you do feel the drag effect, but also you just wash out in places like Abbey and Cox, and you just lose the downforce and end up having to go down an extra gear.
So Kyle Power, currently the lead runner of the Missed Apex panelists. It was Matt Trumpets who was second fastest, ahead of Alex Van Gien in that practice session. We'll see how that unfolds during this qualifying session. All neat and tidy from Kyle so far. Of course, we'll keep an eye out for the lap times of our championship contenders, Danny Henney, Tim Ellis, David Hatton. Breaking down into Brooklands, one of those key trail-breaking moments that Kyle was talking about in his hot lap video. Getting on the power out of Luffield. And, Andy Flagg ahead of him has dropped it on the exit of the corner and pinged off those barriers. So his first attempt is gone, and he'll have to make it back out of the pits and start from square one. So that puts Kyle Power at the head of the field of these runners.
And that's bad for Andy, because he's going to have to come back out on cold tyres as well.
Yep, so a lap and a half of tyre warming, all undone. And I've got to say, that is the key thing in this qualifying. It's about getting them up. And these tyres, they're so hard, such a hard compound. It's so difficult to get the tyre temperature, even on such a high-speed circuit as Silverstone.
If you've ever been to a kart track and you're the first karts of the day out, and you've got like 5-10 laps where it feels like it's on ice, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, you just feel it starting to grip up. A really similar feeling here after like 3 laps.
Gotta say, I've never really been skilled enough to try and notice that difference, certainly in a go-kart. So Danny Henney, we are currently following. He is tucked right up underneath Barry Kemp. So Kyle Power has gone over the line. 59.4 is the benchmark. That's a solid first outing, but Henney immediately into the 58s. Despite that traffic at the end of the lap, 58.911 by half a second is on provisional pole, but only the first lap's coming in. He's now going to have to try and pass Barry Kemp. So that's probably this lap gone. But like I say, these first couple of laps not really about the pace, it's about getting the tyres up to temperature. Gregory Leader currently in 3rd place, then Tim Ellis, Alex Strasma, Sam Watley, David Hatton, the reigning champion, in 7th place. Stephen Williams has just been demoted to 9th place as Neil Singh goes 6th, and Barry Kemp the top 10. Henny making his way around Brooklands and Luffield on his 2nd flying lap. And run it right up to the gravel if you want on the exit of Luffield, and people through Woodcote have been really cutting the apex there right up onto the runoff and almost towards the barrier. So interesting to see who is doing that and who is not. Spanners was telling me earlier that because you have to avoid the grass, it's almost like you get some oversteer and you start sliding around the corner, so maybe it isn't as quick as we might think.
Well, it's tempting because you're allowed to go all the way to the barrier without a penalty. It is tempting to do it, but maybe I'm just lazy. Once you're taking the arc to avoid the grass, I don't want to steer the steering wheel anymore.
It does seem weird that you can cut it that much, especially when, you know, track limits are being enforced at places like the exit of Copse and Stowe. So, 2nd lap's about to be completed. Kyle is just coming through the Vale chicane, and Danny Henny approaching it now. Big traction zone as you try and get on the power and turn it through these last 2 right-handers. Kyle, I don't think he improved. He did by a few hundredths, and Danny certainly did not. So still half a second splits the top 2 after the 2nd flying lap. But Tim Ellis goes into 2nd place. Just popped in a 59.3 there. And James Wingfield also getting himself onto the 2nd row. Tim Ellis, we can see here, sporting a slight addition to his livery, the Union flags on the side pods of his car.
Big incident out of club. Hatton seems to have gone off among others, and Gary Thomas. And it looks like Ishmael Basso involved in that as well.
Oh my, that could be key for Hatton's qualifying. He's currently down in 12th place. And the last thing he would need is a poor qualifying. Just ahead at the moment of Lucas Raskovitz in the standings, who is currently leading the silver driver gradings.
Yeah, so we've separated it into platinum, gold, and silver as well. And Lucas, bless him, he's a nice guy. And I'm about to say something not nice, which is that he is a nightmare for the midfield guys because he is fast but inconsistent. So he'll often get past you and then be a roadblock as well.
I've had the misfortune of having him filling my mirrors for an entire race during the Barcelona week.
Yeah, and he's very rapid, like that, and he's very fair as well. But then, you know, so yeah, but inconsistent, and you think, oh, I wish you'd just disappear. Go ahead. I don't want the place. I just want you ahead.
So we're currently following the reigning champion David Hatton. Now we're down in 16th place, and he is completely backed out of this lap. So it's 2 laps he's lost now, and could be getting a little hot under the collar in that number 1 car. Meanwhile, Brian Boomsma has put himself on the front row of the grid and has split Henny and Ellis by 59 thousandths to that number 14 car. So, we're coming up to the final couple of laps now, and because this circuit's so long, sometimes you don't actually get to complete your lap, even if you cross the line before the checkered flag goes out. So, these last few laps could be absolutely crucial. Tim Ellis has put himself back up on the front row, but Brian Boomsma is about to complete another lap. He's just behind David Hatton, who we're following now. Danny Henny, meanwhile, looks like he's pulled off the circuit, so that could be his qualifying done. 58.8 is the benchmark. Here comes Boomsma to come across the line, and didn't register a lap time, so either he's gone slowly or he's breached some track limits there, but he remains 3rd. And so this could be the last chance for David Hatton, who is currently 22nd provisionally on the grid. So all to do for the reigning champion. Looks good so far as he powers it out of Aintree and onto the Wellington straight. could be absolutely critical for his championship. Currently lacking in the standings, third place after a bit of a mixed Suzuka last time out, and needs to reassert himself at the head of the championship, and so far that is not happening in this qualifying session, but still one last chance for him to try and reclaim some ground. Flicks it through Copse Corner using all the curb on the entry and the apex, it seems. This fantastic section of track at Maggots and Beckett's, flat through the left, and the top guys apparently are flat through this first right-hander as well, then onto the brakes. Well, crucially, it doesn't look like Boomsma is closing in on him, so this could be a decent time for Hatton. Gregory Leader, meanwhile, has popped himself into 4th place. Stephen Williams in 5th. But still, Danny Henney on provisional pole. It looks like Boomsma could be the only person to trouble him. But could come and... Oh, my goodness! He was so close to the back of Hatton's car as they braked for the Vale chicane. So that's absolutely blown this lap for Boomsma. But for Hatton, it's still all to play for. Where does he put himself? 10th. It's only 10th. Not an ideal start to the night for David Hatton. And he pulls off to the right-hand side after the farm curve, and that is his qualifying done. So
well,
a little bit of work to do for David Hatton, and looks like we're...
No surprise to see Danny and Tim Ellis and Boomsma up there, but Stephen Williams, he's one to watch as well in the red and white car. Very, very quick on one lap pace, but it's all or nothing for Stephen Williams. I'm afraid he's either there right at the front, or he's spinning and losing it.
Yeah, it can be. We've seen some fantastic speed from Stephen Williams in his first season in the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. Been an absolute delight to watch. And between Henney and Ellis on the front row, we could be in for an almighty scrap for 8 laps around this Silverstone Grand Prix circuit.
Look out for James Wingfield as well, Caterham racer, qualifying there in 6th place. He's a fair racer as well. He'll give some space, but very fast.
Very fast, although we have seen him over the road at times. So it's going to be about trying to keep it on the track. So as the cars line up on the grid, we can give you a bit more of the order. So it is Danny Henney on pole position, then Tim Ellis alongside him on the front row. Brian Boomsma, 3rd on the grid ahead of Gregory Leader. That's your 2nd row. Williams and Wingfield make up row 3. Then it's Edward Shelley. He's popped in a good time at the end of qualifying there to start 7th on the grid ahead of Carl Power. Alex Drillsma and then David Hatton, the reigning champion, is your top 10. Colin Ward and Ishmael Basso, and then Andy Flagg and Matt Trumpets for the Missed Apex panel running well in 14th. Anil Singh is 15th. John Lang in 16th. Then Adam Rosales, Gary Thomas, Richard Molden, one of the admins for this series, in 19th. And Mark Greenhow makes up the top 20, which, of course, remember, will be reversed after the results of this race to make up the grid for race 2. So, expecting plenty of action ahead in the next 8 laps. Can Tim Ellis roll the dice with Danny Henney? We know he's very quick off the line with that double clutch system that he uses. So it could well be that Tim Ellis is unable to challenge him into the first corner. But don't forget, big braking zone down at Village, and then the long drag down the Wellington Straight. Red lights are up, and we're about to go for race 1 at the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. And Danny Henney leads the field away. Tim Ellis looks like he didn't get away quite so well. He's tucked into the slipstream immediately, trying to cover off Brian Boomsma in 3rd place. Gregory Leader tucks in behind them. Then it's James Wingfield trying to get up the inside of Stephen Williams. But as they break down into the loop section for the first time, Tim Ellis closes up, but unable to mount an attack on Danny Henny. Actually gets boxed in a little bit there and is very much under pressure by Brian Boomsma, who looks like he's got the better exit and is sticking his nose up the inside into Aintree and almost scared Ellis off the road. They're so close together as they come down the Wellington Straight. Ellis crucially has a slipstream from Henny ahead and could try and outbrake him round the outside of Brooklands and into Luffield. Still there side by side. Meanwhile, Stephen Williams behind him trying to make his way up into 4th place ahead of Gregory Leader. And between Boomsma and Ellis, it's still side by side. Ellis not giving up the fight, and neither is Boomsma. Side by side as they come down towards Copse Corner. Ellis has got the high ground. And Boomsma, he's run off the circuit, as has Stephen Williams in their scrap. And Boomsma still so close. He's looking up the inside of Maggots and Beckett's. This could end in tears. And we said that Brian Boomsma has earned himself a little bit of a reputation on the track, and that is exactly why. He will not yield, and he will go for a gap if you present him one. Down the hanger straight for the first time. It's all kicking off behind them. Looks like Gregory Leader and Stephen Williams are side by side as they head down towards Stoke Corner. They're all scrapping over 5th place. Edward Shelley showing his nose in there as well. Carl Power in the mix. It's Williams around the outside in the red and white colours of going past Gregory Leader in the grey and blue HWA colours. And it's Williams breaking down the inside and into 5th place. So at the end of lap 1, Danny Henny crosses the line to lead the field by 9/10 of a second ahead of Tim Ellis. Brian Boomsma only a couple of tenths behind, tucking into that slipstream as they fly through Abbey for the second time. James Wingfield sticking with them in 4th place. Then Stephen Williams, Gregory Leader, Edward Shelley and Carl Power scrapping over 5th place. David Hatton has only made up 1 place so far in 9th ahead of Andy Flagg. That's your top 10.
Really hard for some of these people to remember as well when you've been running doing hot lap after hot lap that your tyres are really cold, and you're seeing people losing it at Luffield, which you won't see once the tyres warm up.
Ellis making a late defensive manoeuvre into Brooklands against Brian Boomsma, who again is making his way around the outside, but actually ends up meeting the tarmac runoff area and has to submit. Ellis himself running a little bit wide on the exit of Luffield. All this scrapping is allowing Danny Henny to get away, and once again it's neck and neck, wheel to wheel as they come towards Copse Corner. And Boomsma once again on the outside. That's not going to stop him this time. Oh, he's flown off the circuit once again, and he's got the high ground. He's into 2nd place. I wonder how Tim Ellis is going to feel about that.
Well, Tim Ellis is quite a calculated driver. He will be doing championship maths in that cockpit.
Boomsma having gained 2nd place, just scampering over the curves a little bit as they went through Chapel, could allow Ellis back through. I'm almost surprised he hasn't been given a slowdown for passing Ellis off the circuit. But Ellis back up the inside now at Stoke Corner, and Boomsma goes very wide, allows James Wingfield through. Maybe he has been given the slowdown because he's at a snail's pace at the moment, crawling down the straight. So that's Boomsma down into 8th place at the moment now, just ahead of David Hatton. So Tim Ellis now a little bit more secure in 2nd place, but now could well face the challenge of James Wingfield. Henny's advantage up to 1.3 seconds at the end of lap 2. Setting the fastest lap of the race there he was, just behind them. Looked like a little bit of side-by-side action. Edward Shelley and Carl Power. Look at this scrap going on for 6th place at the moment. So Shelley and Boomsma. Boomsma gets tagged by Hatton, and Hatton is round. So the reigning champion, who really needed to score points today, has pitched round Brian Boomsma, and it has put himself round in doing so. So he's now down in 13th place. Well, that's a good question. Chat room, tell us whose fault it was. David Hatton now coming under pressure from Alex Van Gien down the inside of Brooklands. If it doesn't rain, it pours. But Hatton looks like, oh no, he's gone off the circuit. I thought for a second he was going to hang on to that place. And might well still do so with the inside line down at Luffield, but things definitely not going Danny Henny's way, David Hatton's way so far tonight.
I'm not far off that battle actually, Chris.
Oh, get in there.
Sneaking up. But it's worth noting the slowdowns if you exceed the set track limits that iRacing has put for the track, you'll be asked to say concede 2 seconds within the next 30 seconds. But the more time you spend not doing it, it increases. So it might say, well, it's 2.1 seconds now.
We've all come a cropper at that at some point. So this battle for second place definitely doesn't look over, as James Wingfield still right up in there. Henny already coming up to a little bit of lap traffic. Looks like that's Gary Thomas, who has probably come through the pits. He has. Gary Thomas sporting some new colours on his car, the polka dots that I don't know if anybody watched Come Outside as a kid, but looks very much like Auntie Mabel's prop plane. Probably a reference that 2 people will understand. But if you are one of those 2 people, I salute you. So, Tim Ellis, looks like he's just been able to gap Wingfield ever so slightly at the start of lap 4. And trying to secure himself into second place. Took a couple of tenths out of Henny so far on this lap. And it's all looking fairly equidistant as they come down that Wellington straight. So we've had the mad chaos at the start, and now just settling into the rhythm. Find out where they are, and then I'm sure we'll see some action kicking off later in the race.
So we were talking about that reverse grid pole. So 20th place will end up on pole. So the top 20 is a big prize. I'm currently sitting in 17th. And I've got Matt Cook, who is faster than me behind me, and Miguel Moreland and John Cox as well. And they are closing in and hounding me down. And I don't know who's behind John Cox, but that battle is going to get tasty for 20th place.
Absolutely. Brian Boomsma on the recovery has just made his way past Andy Flagg, around the outside of Cops Corner. He's up into 11th place. And David Hatton now lining up a move on that pink and white number 58 car. Hatton with the much better exit out of Chapel, but out-drag him down the hangar straight. He has done, so that's 12th place for the reigning champion. And actually, Andy Fly's got a bit of front wing damage, it seems, so that's probably why he's slow on that straight. And Alex Van Gien, it's easy pickings for him. Back up at the front of the field, meanwhile, the battle for 4th place has certainly hotted up, because Williams and Power are now right on the tail of Gregory Leader. And of course, Leader and Williams are scrapping for the gold driver standings honours in the championship. And Williams sticks his nose up the inside, late braking, potentially a little bit of wheel banging there, but Leader with the high ground as they turn into the left-hander at the loop. And he's able to hold on for now, but Williams is going to get a momentous slipstream coming down the Wellington straight, and Leader doesn't cover it off, so Williams with the inside line as they come down towards Brooklands, and this could be Stephen Williams' 4th place. And indeed it is. Nothing Leader can do to fight that, and Carl Power waiting patiently in the wings to seize his opportunity. So Leader looks like he could come back at Williams now with another slipstreaming opportunity round Woodcote. And looking towards the outside of Cops Corner. But Williams again with the high ground. Yeah, it's able to just keep himself ahead for now. The Leader looking for every which way past, and that cost him a little bit of momentum, and Carl Power slings it up the inside into Magnus and Beckett, and that was a very tasty move indeed. So Williams 4th, Carl Power now in 5th place, and yet again another slipstream opportunity down the hangar straight towards Stowe Corner. Power not got the momentum he needs at the moment, although he has a think about it down the inside, and actually has scared Williams off the apex and made him slow out of the corner. That could be a way for Carl Power to come through to the Vale chicane. Nope, not on this occasion. Henny, meanwhile, is about to come over the line to complete lap 5. So 3 to go at the end of... 3 to go now, actually. And this battle for 4th place still red hot as they come through. And whoa, and Leader runs off the circuit out of Copse Corner. I was about to say Williams took a fair bit of curb and almost unsettled the car, it looked like, but Leader went one further and ran off the circuit. Doesn't seem to have cost him too much ground though. Although Edward Shelley could well get involved in this scrap in the closing stages of the race. And Carl shows his nose, but thinks better of it down into Brooklands. Two very different lines between Williams and Power through Luffield. Power keeping it tight. Williams deciding to let the car drift out in the middle of the corner and line up that exit.
Well, that is ice and fire there, isn't it? Carl Power versus Steve Williams.
It's very tense, isn't it? It can get quite heated on the track at times, and we've certainly seen some amazing scraps from both of these guys so far this season.
Kyle Power incredibly smooth on the controls, and he has a debilitating sense of fairness, which holds him back, to be honest.
Maybe that's why he's only had 2 podiums so far in the Formula Renault Challenge. Certainly deserving of a lot more.
So did you say something happened to Andy Flagg earlier? Because even I'm catching him now.
Yeah, he has got a bit of front wing damage. We saw it just as we were watching Brian Boomsma and David Hatton make their way past him.
Oh, poor Andy. Very quick guy in the pink.
Incredibly quick. Very quick. I've gone toe-to-toe with him in the Formula 3 and the Formula Renault, and yeah, just a rapid driver. Was the Division 4 champion in the official Formula Renault, I believe.
Yes, beat me, yes.
Yeah, beat me as well. So Carl Power still looking for a way through on Stephen Williams. 2 laps to go. And running it very deep, braking into Village. But no way through. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, Danny Henney has 1.8 seconds over Ellis, who in turn has 1.5 seconds over James Wingfield. So that podium looks pretty much set with a lap and a half to go. So all eyes on this battle for 4th place, involving some of the top gold drivers that we have this season. Although I'm sure some of these guys are in for a promotion at the end of the season.
Oh, breaking news. Stephen Williams has been promoted in the field because we got annoyed with how fast he was. So he's on to platinum now, yeah.
Ah, okay.
And that's how we're doing it. It's not a democracy. It's just whatever race control says.
Boomsma and Hatton, meanwhile, have not really made any progress. They're still there in 11th and 12th. Tucked up behind, of all people, Matt Trumpets.
Do a commentator's curse on Matt Trumpets, please.
Oh, well, Matt Trumpet, isn't he driving sublimely at the moment, repelling the advances of 2 fantastic drivers in this field. Hasn't worked yet.
Our own Matt Trumpets, by the way, he's worked really, really hard on his pace. He is genuinely faster than me, overtaken me, and is a threat to the top guys now. He will be soon anyway.
Could be a different story in the Formula 3. Was not having a good time of it at Laguna Seca this week. Meanwhile, just back in this battle for 4th place, Kyle was just dropping a little bit of ground on Stephen Williams, but then Williams in turn just ran a little bit deep into that Vale chicane, and that's put Power back on his tail. So 1 lap to go. Henny's advantage now 2.1 seconds. So here he is on course to take his 9th victory and his 4th of the season. We're watching this battle for 4th place, and Kyle looking for every which way past in that camo Red Bull car. And is that Leader who's just gone for a little bit of a spin on the exit of the loop? Indeed it is. So that's cost him any shot of a good result in this battle. And looks like side by side, very nearly coming into Brooklands. Power trying to make his way around the outside, but Williams wise to that move. That's promoted Edward Shelley, by the way, to 6th place. Ishmael Basso into 7th behind them. Gregory Leader has emerged in 10th place after that little spin. So, Carl Power running out of opportunities to take 4th place away from Stephen Williams. Both of these drivers performing absolutely remarkably so far in what has been a great scrap to watch, and absolutely nose to tail as they fling through Maggots and Beckett's. Only 2 opportunities left for Carl, you would think, and he's lining him up, trying to take the wide line in and improve his exit as they come down to the hanger straight for the final time. Tucked right up in that slipstream. All Williams has to do is kind of break neatly up the inside, but he hasn't covered off Carl's move, who's got the inside line for Stowe Corner, and is going to put himself up into 4th place. Williams tries to brave it out around the outside. Power could well run him off the circuit. No, very fair driving from the pair of them, and that gives Williams the inside line back for this failed chicane. Meanwhile, Danny Henny takes the checkered flag ahead of Ellis and Wingfield, but Williams at the final corner drops it side by side with Kyle Power it was, but it is Power who comes out on top in 4th place, and Edward Shelley, he takes 5th place after that. And Stephen Williams, did he manage to get across the line in 6th? I think he did.
That's the Stephen Williams we love.
Wow, that was fantastic clean racing right up until that final corner it was there. So Ishmael Basso over the line in 7th place, then John Lang. Matt Trumpets, really great race, 9th place for him. Gregory Leader in 10th. And then David Hatton only got 11th place in the end. I think Brian Boomsma may have had another incident down in there somewhere, because at the moment he's all the way down in 22nd place.
I finished 1 place behind Alex Van Gien. Also mentioned Alex Van Gien, very fast go-karter in the session as well.
Yeah, 13th for him and 14th for you, Spanners. But
Yeah,
going on reverse grid pole will be John Cox after securing 20th place. And, I think some of these guys, we look not quite so good because we're in amongst people who are as quick as aliens. John Cox, very, very fast.
When we go into the official sessions with the Formula Renault 2.0, pretty much all the top 25 here looks decent in the top few splits of the official championships. But here, I feel like a complete, to qualify 30th is fine. To creep up to 14th is basically a win for me today.
So just going through the grid for race 2, we can have some very quick guys up in there. John Cox, Jack Weddle will be on the front row, then Matt Cook, Richard Molden, one of the admins for this series, he'll start on the 2nd row, and Andy Flagg, very, very quick driver, starting in 5th place for this one.
Yeah, he could win from there.
You'll be lining up 7th. So
yeah, my job is to not hit Andy Flagg.
Yeah, absolutely. So very much a contender then is Andy Flagg for the race 2 win. Certainly a podium, but we'll have to see how the top guys get through the order. Of course, David Hatton, after a bit of an underwhelming feature race, will start 9th on the grid with his 11th place finish. So that's race 1. We're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We will be right back with the second race of the 4th round of the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for the 4th round of the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. We are joined in the commentary booth by Danny Henney, our race 1 winner. Danny, you look absolutely impervious at the front of the field. Oh, what a timely spin you've just had.
I actually didn't know if you were on board with me or not.
But no, you looked great out in the field in race 1. No one could get you near you.
Yeah, to be fair, it probably looked easier than what it was. There was just no grip in the, or at least I found there was no grip in the session. So once I got a bit of a gap, I was managing the gap back to Tim. But yeah, it was a bit annoying. I couldn't pump in the mid 58s what I'd been doing in the practice sessions. But hopefully race 2 and 3 will be a bit better. But it's funny, it's really nervous when you're at the front because you don't want to lock a wheel or you could easily spin off. So yeah, although I'm up there quite a bit, it's still nerve-wracking every time.
Extending your records as well. 9th win in the series and 15th podium.
Yeah, I said to the lads, the aim's to break the 10 barrier by the end of the season. And,
easily done, mate, surely.
Get some, hopefully. And then the fastest laps is the one I'm more determined about, if I'm honest. That's kind of a personal bit of pride. But yeah, really love it. And yeah, the aim's to put down some good records, to be fair.
Danny, Spanners here. I know you're a bit of our Lewis Hamilton, and when will this Henny domination end? It's boring. But you've been working with a lot of the guys to get them faster. Where have you found time for people around this circuit?
It's the braking. So everybody, when they jump in, naturally thinks that you have to hit the brake as hard as you can and obviously try and slow down as much and then floor the throttle. And when you initially start the coaching sessions with the lads, you'll find that's generally what a lot of people do. A couple of people are not using the correct lines as well, so that's easily fixed, but it's mainly on the braking. So what I've started doing, which I did with Mike Stoner earlier, you just come up to a corner and brake gently and just literally roll through the corner and let the car scrub the speed on itself. You'll find your lap time will drop considerably just doing that, and then obviously you work on picking up the throttle a bit earlier, braking a bit later, etc. But it's real basic stuff, to be fair. It's just, you know, having someone guide you along what to do and then practicing.
And how do you think you'll get on with the reverse grid starting from 20th? Suzuka was very hard to make your way up the grid. Perhaps a little more open here.
The practice races went quite well, to be fair. I started 18th and 23rd, and I think I was first within 4 laps. So if it goes like that, I'll be very happy. But obviously not all the fast guys are in them. But slightly confident. If I can get in the top 5, I'll be happy. But the aim's always to try and win wherever you start.
All right, Danny, well, thank you for your time. We're going to have to love you and leave you because we're going to get ready to go with race 2. So good luck, and we'll catch you later.
Thank you.
So race 2 going to get underway very soon. We're going to get the go-ahead from race control any minute now. So this warm-up session that you're seeing will come to an end, and Danny Henney there will be plopped onto 20th on the grid. The first of 2 reverse grid races for the evening. And on pole position will be John Cox, who I got to say, I had a fantastic battle with John Cox during the Brands Hatch week of the officials last season in the Formula Renault. He is very, very quick, knows his racecraft, and certainly is a contender for a good result. Actually, we saw him fighting for the podium at Imola, didn't we? And was so quick there.
But like with anything, Chris, it's the consistency that separates the likes of Tim Ellis and the John Cox.
Absolutely. So, a few seconds to go until this session is over, and probably the best for the incident that's just gone on down there. We've had a couple of your comments in the chat room as well. Very kind of you, saying how much you're enjoying the show. And John McClintock very much pointing out the important thing. Matt Trumpet's doing a lot of endurance racing, improving his consistency and probably helping him to that 9th place finish he had in race 1.
That's why we need the vaccine, to get musicians back working so they don't have time for iRacing.
Right, so John Cox, it will be on pole position for this race. Grid just forming up now. So 30 seconds to the green, I am told. Thank you very much for your comments in the chat room. Keep them coming in, and when the inevitable happens, let us know whose fault it is. So ones to watch out for: Danny Henney, 20th on the grid; Tim Ellis, 19th; Carl Power in 17th. The championship leader starting in 10th place. So keep an eye out for those guys. Alex Van Gien representing the Missed Apex field alongside Richard Spanners Ready, 7th and 8th for them. So red lights are up, and we're about to get underway for race 2 at Silverstone. Green flag is waved, and John Cox leads the field away from reverse grid pole, and Jack Weddle immediately coming under pressure from Matt Cook for second place. Going to be side by side through Cops Corner. Richard Molden getting involved up in there as well. Watch out for Andy Flag. Oh, trumpet, Henny, and it looked like Ellis has come together into Cops Corner. So absolute drama for those two. Matt Trumpets was going round and facing the wrong way out of Cops Corner as well. But the leaders, crucially, have gotten away cleanly. And David Hatton has as well. He's fighting in the middle of the pack, still in 10th place, it seems. But John Cox storming clear with Jack Weddle at the moment, leaving the field. Oh, another spinner to the exit of Aintree. Looked like Adrian Clark, but almost side by side up at the front of the field. John Cox having to repel the advances of Jack Weddle as they emerge out of Luffield. Look at the gap they've pulled to Andy Flag, who's moved his way up into third place already. He said he was a very quick car. Watch out for him as they close up later in the race. Side by side as they come into Cops Corner. Weddle trying to go around the outside in that purple and black car, and still neck and neck with the grey and red of John Cox, and side by side into Maggots and Beckett's. Very brave stuff. Still absolutely neck and neck. They make contact, and Weddle goes round, and that's the end of his hopes of winning this reverse grid race. So John Cox with 1 second over Andy Flag as they emerge onto the hangar straight. Richard Molden running in third place at the moment, then Garen Patton, and just behind them Miguel Moreland leads an absolute train of cars coming down the hangar straight. Van Gien and Spanners Ready, looks like they're going to go side by side. Van Gien tucks in behind actually, and John Lang getting involved in that as well. Oh no, Van Gien's dropped it out of Stowe Corner, very nearly takes David Hatton with him, but he swerves to avoid. And Hatton taking a classically methodical approach to this opening lap. But at the end of lap 1, John Cox leads the field ahead of Andy Flag by 1.2 seconds. Richard Molden in third, just ahead of Garen Batten. Miguel Moreland in 5th place still. Then Richard Spanners Ready in 6th place. And John Lang running very closely there with David Hatton, who is going to try and make his way through the field now. Carl Power up into 10th place, just behind Stephen Williams. And so our top contenders from race 1 very much getting up in there, except for Tim Ellis, who is currently in 20th place, battling with Alex Strilsma, and Danny Henney, who I haven't seen come through on the timing yet. 24th place, I'm told he is. So, Spanners a bit of side-by-side with John Lang into Luffield, and they're fighting over 6th place, and Lang runs wide on the exit of the corner. And,
I'm massively out of my league here.
Yeah, well, David Hatton now going to try and follow in his footsteps. Around the outside of Cops Corner would be brave. But he is brave enough, and Stephen Williams going to fly through as well. Now, absolute string of cars looking to make their way through. Very important to see how the top guys make their way up the order, and it's absolutely one of the most important parts of this championship, bearing in mind that for 2/3 of the season you're going to be coming up from a lowly grid position.
That was horrible, just getting swamped through Maggots and Beckett's by 5
It's
people.
a horrible feeling. I've been there. So Hatton lining up a move on John Lang for 6th place as they come through Stowe Corner, but no way through on this particular occasion. And actually Hatton's got to watch out because he's got Stephen Williams trying to break around the outside of the Vale chicane. Very tough to make a move around the outside there work, although I believe Ishmael Basso is proving me very much wrong just behind them as he goes side by side with James Wingfield, that was. Meanwhile, Andy Flag has set the fastest lap of the race, 59.8, and has brought that gap down to 0.8 of a second at the front of the field. But David Hatton, meanwhile, is that Miguel Morland that they're coming up to round now? It is indeed. So John Lang up the inside of the loop, and David Hatton follows him through. All neat and tidy, and Williams next to pick off Morland through Aintree, and then Carl Power will follow him through. So these guys only 5 seconds off the lead at the moment. And as they're scrapping away, not closing in on Cox in the lead, but could well do later in the race. On lap 3 of 8 already, so the clocks are going to be ticking down very quickly. Apologies if you're seeing Lang blinking in and out. We are at the mercy of each user's internet connection. So look at that absolutely brilliant string of cars flying through Copse Corner, almost completely nose to tail. Plenty of them scrapping for position. Danny Henney is making progress. He's just taken 17th place away from Colin Ward, so he's definitely on the recovery. But as it stands, David Hatton could well take a chunk out of both his title rivals in this race. Gotta be careful because there's Carl Power, and with Lang 3 wide into Stoke Corner. Carl thinks better of it, and Hatton runs a little bit wide, and the wise and sage Carl Power actually picks up the place there from David Hatton and makes it 2 in 2 as he picks off John Lang immediately at the Vale chicane. Oh, got to be careful, running wide through the exit and bouncing over. Hatton's lost it! Oh, what a save! As they came back onto the pit straight, Hatton very nearly threw it all away with that moment on the curve, and now he's got Wingfield in his sides, banging wheels as they come through Copse Corner. He can't afford another incident in this race. So for 5th place, Lang and Power side by side now, and they are closing in on Batten and Molden, currently scrapping over 3rd place. So Power towards the inside at Brooklands, and this will be his 5th place. Not quite. Lang runs it a little bit wide and very nearly contact as they come into the right-hander at Luffield, and Power is forced the long way around. Who's got the better momentum as they come round Woodcote, and it could be side by side again through Copse Corner. They say it's quite difficult, but I'm having trouble believing that with the amount these guys are doing it. And so Power has to yield that one. And Williams now has the momentum on him as they come towards Maggots and Beckett. I think he's going to challenge him too much. No, tucks back in behind him. Meanwhile, that gap at the front has definitely come down. Andy Flagg is right with our race leader, John Cox. And if the wheel-to-wheel action we've seen from Cox so far this season is anything to go by, we could be in for a mighty lead scrap with 4 laps to go at the end of this one. So Cox, we've already seen him repel the advances of Jack Weddell on the opening lap. Now he's got a whole new challenger in Andy Flagg, who took another 2 tenths out of him on the previous lap. We'll see what it is this time around. Yeah, 6 tenths on that occasion, and Cox already feeling the need to go defensive towards towards Abbey. Through the farm curve, is Andy Flagg going to be able to pounce up the inside? They've absolutely left the rest of the field for dust, nearly 6 seconds clear of Garen Batten in 3rd place, and Cox runs a little bit wide out of Village. This could be a great opportunity for Andy Flagg. Lines up a nice exit and down this Wellington straight.
Lang loses it
Fully
into Abbey.
Oh, well, that's a shame for John Lang. He was running right up in there, but side by side for the lead of the race. Cox thought he covered him off, but Flagg has found the inside line down at Brooklands, but Cox will not give this one up easily. Round the outside he goes, and still absolutely neck and neck as they come through Luffield, and Cox just eases him over to the left-hand side of the track and is able to hang on to the lead of the race. Flagg not finished yet, though, as he emerges out of the slipstream and is going to make it side by side into Copse Corner, but with the outside line, he's not going to yet backs out of that one and thinks better of it. They're lining him up for a move down the hanger straight, surely. He'll be practically pushing him through Maggots and Beckett's at this rate, and just draws a little bit of an overlap, keeps his nose in there, and maybe thought he was going to offset Cox a little bit, but Cox is wise to his game. So another slipstreaming opportunity down the hanger straight. Could have another 4 laps of this. I'll be thoroughly entertained by it. So flag in that pink and white. Tucked right up in the slipstream. Has to go to the outside of Stowe Corner. You can make it around the outside work, but he decides to go for that undercut. Get the better run. Can he challenge him on the way into the Vale chicane? Cox covers him off, and flag once again is forced onto the outside line. And John could get a little wrong-footed through there, but he is absolutely bulletproof under the pressure of Andy Flagg. So far, anyway. Side by side into Abbey once again. Flagg choosing not to do the wall of death around the outside. Could be another braking manoeuvre. Cox is placing his car absolutely perfectly at the moment. Runs a little bit wide through Village, but we saw him do this last time round and was still able to hang on down the Wellington straight. So might not be that big a drama for him. Fantastic scrapping for the lead of this race 2, the first of 2 reverse grid races. Remember, we've got another one to come, and John, that was maybe a little bit of a late move back over to the right hand side, but we'll let you get away with it. Coming out of left field once again. 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Flag once again tucked right up in the station. Oh, he's found the inside line for Cox this time. That's a better line, and he could just squeeze Cox out onto the outside if he can make it work. But John Cox is doing a superb job of hanging on to this lead. I'll tell you, I faced this when I was staring down the back of his car. He will not yield a position if he doesn't have to. Meanwhile, Carl Power has made his way up into 3rd place. So he's got past Malden and Batten while we've been watching this battle. And Hatton up into 6th place as well. But this lead battle has got our attention. And Flagg once again towards the outside of Stowe Corner. He's pulled ahead, but Cox once again has got the correct line. And is just able to edge him wide. He's just feed him over to the edge of the track and is doing a superb job of defending this lead. Now, and once again is able to cover off the inside in the Vale chicane. Just no way through. Wherever Flagg wants to be, Cox is putting his car. Oh, but this time again, Flagg has found the... Oh, a little chop, and Flagg had to move across to defend it. It's getting a little bit argy-bargy out there now. And Flagg... Oh, no! They've made contact! And they've both gone round. Flagg is facing the wrong way. John Cox... Oh, I thought for a second... Oh, that's a dangerous rejoin. Oh, my goodness. So a couple of cars got a little bit caught out there. I thought for a moment that John was just going to be able to hang on to it, but it swapped ends on him again, and now he's caught up right between Wingfield, Ellis, and Flagg has been able to rejoin close with them as well. So that now means that Kyle Power leads by 1.5 seconds ahead of Garen Batten, with David Hatton now in 3rd place, Stephen Williams in 4th, and Richard Molden in 5th. This race has just been turned on its head with a lap and a half to go. So Hatton running in that 3rd place spot. Can he nick 2nd away in the final lap and a half? And that would really turn around his evening, especially with Tim Ellis currently running down in 10th place. Danny Henney has made a remarkable recovery up into 7th place. So maybe David's not going to be recovering as many points as he would have hoped. And Henney, oh, was that him going around the outside of Gregory Leader and running off the circuit? Indeed it was. And he's trying to make a move into Maggots and Beckett on that grey and blue HWA car. He'll be lining up the move, coming down that hanger straight for 6th place. Should be easy pickings for the championship leader. But for 2nd place, Hatton towards the inside of Stowe Corner, and he's up into that 2nd place spot ahead of Garen Batten. So Power leads Hatton with a lap to go. And potentially a podium for Stephen Williams, as he's right on the back of that number 67 car as well now. So the podium very much not settled just yet. As we start this final lap, So Hatton just ahead of Button by a few tenths of a second, but we're going to keep an eye on Stephen Williams as he goes towards the outside. Super late braking move around the outside of Village. And can he hang it all the way around the outside and get the inside line for the loop? He can indeed. That's Stephen Williams up into third place. I wonder if Batten could try and fight back down the Wellington Straight. He is indeed. Had the tighter line through Aintree and was hoping to get the side draft there, I think. But if he can brake late enough up the inside of Brooklands, it'll be a brave man who can outbrake Stephen Williams, I'll tell you that. And it looks like he's consolidated that third place spot. Now, Henny, meanwhile, up into fifth place. He has dispatched of Gregory Leader and Richard Molden. So coming through Copse Corner for the last time. And Kyle on course. Let me check my stat sheet, actually. This would be his first victory in the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. He's had 2 podiums up until this point, but never has he stood on the top step of the podium. And, well, he's certainly going to do it in a moment. Some might say it was handed to him after the contact between Cox and Flag, but he has driven absolutely superbly today so far. Great result in race 1, and he's going to improve it in race 2. 1.5 seconds ahead of David Hatton, who is going to claw back a few crucial championship points. Stephen Williams going to take another podium for the season. But here comes Kyle Power around that final corner. His first victory in the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. What a moment. David Hatton in second, Stephen Williams in third place. Garen Batten able to hold off Danny Henny at the line there. That was fourth place for him. So Henny comes home fifth. Great recovery, having faced the wrong way at the first corner. Richard Molden in seventh place. Andy Flagg in eighth after a little bit of a recovery after that contact battling with John Cox. Tim Ellis was also facing the wrong way at the start of the race. He's in ninth, and John Lang in 10th place. Wow. I think we should try and speak to our race winner. Kyle, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Hello, Kyle. You've just taken your first Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge win.
Yeah, very, very happy to get the monkey off my back. I was beginning to wonder whether I'd ever get a chance to win one. A little bit fortunate at the end there. There were sort of leaders battling and kind of wanted them to battle hard so I could go and fight them on the last lap. But they took each other out, so very kind of them. Thank you, you two. Yeah, very happy.
Oh, fantastic. So, 20th on the grid for the next one. What can you do from there?
I'd like to try to see if I could break the top 5. That'd be nice. I've had some fantastic battles today, like in that last race with John Lang. He was fighting really hard. We had some really good clean racing there. So yeah, top 5 I'd be happy. Okay, cool. Right, well, we'll let you get on. Congratulations on the win, and good luck for race 3.
Tell you what, there was some tough racing in that midfield, Chris. It was unbelievable, all the way down from like 10th to 21st. And like you have the risk reward that was going on. You know, you see the people who will make that death lunge, and you'll see the people who want to stay in the chain and get it home. Absolutely incredible racing.
I bet. Just taking down the grid for race 3, because it will be Adam Rosales who starts on reverse grid pole. You, once again, will be right up in there. You'll be starting alongside Cox. How do you feel about that?
Well, they're all quicker than me, you know, and it's just, it is depressing. Like, if you lose, if you duck out, say, into Maggots, then you get swamped into Beckett's and into Chapel and stuff like that. But hey, I'll do my best. It's all about hanging on in there when you get the reverse grids up at the front and just seeing how long you can last. And look, I did it again. I held the top 20.
And another one of our panelists, Alex Van Gien, he'll be starting on the front row as well. So
he was so desperate not to hit me in that race. He had a few chances to take a lunge, and he did not. I think that was a good team panel performance.
Good man. Good man. Right, so we are going to take another quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the final race of the night. what happened down into Cop's Corner then? We saw it, but very much the aftermath of it.
Yeah, I mean, he tried to pass me around the outside a number of times, and he realized he needed to mix it up, so he threw it down the inside. Kudos to him. We were side by side. I thought we both had clean lines, and I don't want to break the fourth wall or anything, but it might have been a little bit of the old net code, or it's possible he had a tight enough line that he got loose and slapped. That's how it looks in the video. But
John Spanner's here. John Spanner's here. I'm in the same situation as you, ending up well out of my skill level sometimes with these reverse grids. Do you relish it? Because I sometimes find myself my adrenaline is off the charts trying to hold off those fast guys.
Oh, my heart's pounding. I mean, we are lucky to be in here with such skilled drivers, and I mean, it's a little sad that to be up at the front of the grid, I have to finish 20th in the race before, but I try to seize the opportunity and enjoy it. And
yeah,
we've got a driver chat that's going on. I have to mute that. I can have zero distractions, and it's just head down, thinking every corner way ahead. You have to be perfect, or you're just going to get eaten alive. But yeah, I love it. It's terrifying, and I love every second of it.
Fantastic! Right, we've got to get out of here because we're going to get underway with race 3. But thanks for your time and for putting on a fantastic show in that race, and good luck for the next one.
Thanks, guys.
John Cox, a very quick driver, and I've gone wheel to wheel with him at Brands Hatch, and he does place his car absolutely perfectly. So, the grid for race 3 will be Adam Rosales on reverse grid pole, Alex Van Gien, Missed Apex panelist, on the front row with him. And we've seen him at the front of some reverse grid races before, particularly at the Nürburgring last season, where he was just astounding in his defense of the lead. So we're going to advance to the grid now. And we'll be underway in just under 60 seconds' time. It'll be Colin Ward and Edward Shelley on the second row of the grid. Both of those guys have been very, very quick so far this weekend. And then Spanners lining up in 5th place. John Cox, I know we were just talking to, he will be 6th on the grid. So plenty of guys to watch out for in the final championship race of the night. Worth mentioning that Alex Drillsma and James Wingfield both starting inside the top 10 championship protagonists. Tim Ellis in 12th place, Danny Henney starting in 16th, and then David Hatton in 19th. And of course, our race 2 winner, Kyle Power, lining up 20th on the grid in this top 20 reverse grid race. A few seconds to go until we are lights out. Another 8 laps to round out the championship running tonight. Wonder if Alex Van Gien can get the run on Rosales and make it side by side into Cop's Corner, as we have seen earlier today. The lights are up and we're about to get underway for the final championship race of the night at Silverstone. It's the green flag and Adam Rosales gets away. Has Alex Van Gien got the run he needs? He's got just the slightest hint of an overlap. But it's going to be Rosales who leads into Abbey. A fair chunk of curb taken by Alex Van Gien there. Oh, off. I believe that's Ishmael Basso who's gone off down at Abbey. But Colin Ward round the outside of the village braking zone and pops one up the inside of the loop as well. He takes 2nd place away from Alex Van Gien. Nice tidy little move there. Edward Shelley tucks in behind them in 4th place. He'll be trying to get a slipstream down this straight. Richard Spanner's ready in 5th place out of John Cox. Oh, that's Gregory Leader who's gone for a spin on the exit of Aintree. Side by side for 2nd place once again as Alex Van Gien tries to get back up the inside of Colin Ward to reclaim that position, but no way through for him on this particular occasion. So top 4 absolutely nose to tail as John Cox is about to go side by side with Spanners ready and move himself up into 5th place. Ward now making a move for the lead as they come towards Cop's Corner. Van Gien tucked up right up in there as well, and Rosales is forced out wide. That allows Van Gien through as well, so he's down 2 places in 1 corner. Van Gien now going for the lead as they head towards Maggotts and Beggarts, but Ward just gives him the chop to say you ain't coming through there, sunshine. Great bit of side-by-side action, and even more so going on just behind them as John Cox and Spanners ready still side-by-side as they come through Maggotts and Beggarts. Alex Drillsma and Danny Henney, what a start he's made, up in 8th place already. David Hatton, meanwhile, is in 12th place. He's made up some good ground, but up at the front of the field, Colin Ward is just pulling away from these guys now, and it's Van Gien, Rosales and Shelley scrapping away over second. Henny making up ground once again behind them, but Ward rounds the final corner to complete the first lap and is in the lead at the moment. Alex Van Gien second place by 1 second, only a couple of tenths ahead of Alan Rosales, and then Edward Shelley just slipping away from the back of them there. Oh, that's not going to help his case. Runs wide on the exit of Abbey. So that's cost him a little bit of ground to this battle for second place, currently being contested between Van Gien and Rosales. Danny Henny, meanwhile, has made his way up into 5th place and surely will be on the back of these guys any moment now. I wouldn't discount him out for a second win tonight. He's only 4 seconds behind the leader at the moment. So Carl Power, next man to line up. Spanners ready, although he's side by side with Alex Drillsmat at the moment. This could get a little bit messy as Williams gets involved in there as well down at Brooklands corner. Power very much the hard breaker, trying to back out at that one, and it's Drillsmat who comes out on top actually. Makes up a couple of places there out of Luffield, and Williams now lining up a move on Kyle Power as well, and so is David Hatton. Everyone's making moves on everyone at the moment. Coming towards Copse Corner, flinging through the right-hander. It's an absolutely incredible sight. All these cars so close together. Kyle not fancying the move on Spanners towards Maggots and Beckett. We could see him make it down at Stowe. And side by side for second place once again, Adam Rosales has got the inside line for Stowe corner, and Van Gien cannot do anything to stop him coming through. Meanwhile, that battle for 6th place is raging on. Carl has dispatched of Spanners, and Hatton ahead of Williams now. He's on the outside line for the Vale chicane. Just keeping ahead of that red and white Prema coloured car. And it's looking, yeah, very close as they head back towards Abbey at the start of lap 3. But Hatton making up the moves at the moment. But crucially losing out to his title rival, Danny Henny, at the moment in 5th place. So still some ground to make up for David Hatton. And, again, Van Gien, he's slipping back because now Edward Shelley is coming past him down the Wellington Straight and into Brooklands. Shelley's put himself up into 3rd. Oh, no! Rosales from 2nd place has dropped it. And that has promoted all 3 of these guys. So Shelley now 2nd, Van Gien 3rd, and Henny in 4th place. But for how much longer? Because Henny's got a tremendous drive out of Luffield and is side by side with Alex Van Gien, and he'll have the line into Copse Corner, and surely is about to put himself into the podium placings within 3 laps of racing, having started down the order. Runs a little bit wide, but is able to stay ahead of Van Gien. And despite his scrapping, he's brought the gap down to the leader, down to 3.2 seconds. So he's taken almost a second out of Colin Ward on this lap, despite making up places. So surely it won't be very long at all before we see him in the lead of the race. Could he take 2nd place from Edward Shelley into Stowe Corner? Not on this particular occasion. Closed up massively under braking. Even if the braking zone for Stowe is incredibly short and incredibly light. Down into the Vale chicane. Henny tucked right up underneath Shelley's rear wing. Make sure he gets the all-important exit onto what is now the Hamilton Straight.
Sir Hamilton Straight?
Absolutely the Sir Hamilton Straight.
As I get swamped on the Sir Hamilton Straight.
Oh, no. So Shelley moves towards the inside, trying to defend Danny Henny's attack. Not sure if it's worth defending a Danny Henny attack at this point, but well, fair play to him. We love seeing it. But Henny got an almighty run down the Wellington straight. Shelley once again moves across to defend it, but Henny could well out-drag him by the time they get towards the braking zone. Around the outside he goes. And Henny, in that very stark orange and black car, moves himself up into second place and has now got his sights set on Colin Ward. 3 seconds up the road between him and a second victory of the night. Only been done once before, I think, and by Danny, actually. So
I'll tell you what's disappointing for the midfield guys is the standard of the top guys has been great. They've not been taking each other out, and most of them are still there. So you don't get those attrition 6th places anymore.
Drillsma and Carl Power still battling away over 5th place. I'll tell you, Brian Boomsma could well be making the moves. He's tucked up right up behind Andy Flagg and is trying to make himself get himself into the top 10.
They've got an overlap, so Andy's not going to be able to cut him off. It's going to be on the brakes round Stowe now.
Yep, Boomsma with that inside line. Of course, Stephen Williams right in front of them as well. Flagg doesn't brave it out around the outside, and that's Boomsma up into the top 10.
This is the best commentary booth in the world behind that battle.
Fantastic. That battle for 5th place we were just talking about. Drills were a little deep into the Vale chicane, and that has given Power just a little bit of extra momentum in that scrap. Having said that, Drillsma has just done the fastest lap of the race, a 59. Power's gone just a bit quicker, 59.1, although maybe he exceeded track limits on that one. Certainly it was a personal best for Drillsma on that previous lap. Boomsma once again making the moves as they come down the Wellington straight, and it's Williams now in his sight and 9th place as he pops up towards the inside of Brooklands. Very nicely done. Williams a little wide and could open up the door for Andy Flagg to get himself back into the top 10. Spanner's ready, still scrapping away there. Got Richard Molden in his mirrors.
I'm so scrappy.
So scrappy. So Flagg could well make a move on Williams. And down into Cops Corner, he's looking towards the inside. And, wow, doesn't take no for an answer. Fantastic. And Williams could fight back straight away towards the outside of Maggots and Beckett's. Who's going to yield first? Williams keeps his nose in there. It takes the curb, but no way through on Andy Flagg on that particular occasion. Back up at the front of the field, Danny Henny has brought the gap down to 2.7 seconds, and Alex Van Gien doesn't look done in this battle for 3rd place. He's hounding Edward Shelley at the apex of Stowe Corner, so definitely we should keep our eye on this developing battle. And Drillsma and Power still closing in on these guys, so could unfold as the race progresses. David Hatton, Rosales, they look just a little too far back to make an impression as we've got 3 laps to go. So Henny with the fastest lap brought that gap down to 2.5 seconds now, 59 flat on that occasion. Drillsma and Power were very close together as they came out of Abbey, and still are down at the loop, but Power still looking at the back of that number 56 car. And Van Gien, oh, it looks like he's made a mistake somewhere on this lap. He's now 9/10 behind Edward Shelley for 3rd place. So let's keep our eye on Drillsma and Power, who are side by side coming through Luffield. Power in the camo Red Bull colours on the outside, trying to get the momentum as they come down towards Woodcote and Cops Corner. Drillsma with the inside line. So it doesn't look like there's a way through for Power on this particular occasion. He'll try and make sure he gets the exit as Drillsma runs wide, and that could be the open door that Power needs. He's got an overlap. He's just pulled clear, is he? Yes! Going into Maggots and Beckett. Gets the job done. So that's fifth place for Power now. Got to be careful though, because down this straight, Jonesma could come back at him. Although he's gapped him rather handsomely in just a few corners. So could well fend off any attack into Stowe Corner. Just behind them, we can see David Hatton still very close with Rosales, and Boomsma right up in there as well. So for 7th place, it's still very much on.
What do you think of the reverse grids that we do here, Chris? I really do think it adds an element to the racing.
Oh, I love them. They're fantastic. It does add an element, and it's something that we see in real racing as well. They do it in Formula 3, they do it in Formula 2. It's absolutely superb, and it does add that extra element. And we can see moves like this. Brian Boomsma making his way past Adam Rosales into Abbey. And incidentally, just set the fastest lap of the race as well. Henny up at the front of the field. He's brought that gap down to under a second, and we've got less than 2 laps to go. It could come down to a last lap gasp once again, just like we saw at Suzuka with Tim Ellis. He made that move with only 2 corners to go. How late is Henny going to leave it to make his move on Colin Ward? Drillsma and Power still not finished.
Boomsma's off because he's in front of me.
Ah! So that's well, not the first time tonight we've seen Boomsma head off the road. That's a shame for him. He was running in a good position. Although I think he's not lost too much ground. He's still there in 10th place and only a second and a half behind Stephen Williams. So he hasn't lost all that much.
My goodness, he's so fast.
Up at the front of the field, it's looking very, very close now between Henny and Ward. Less than half a second is that gap now, and Henny is reeling him in down the hanger straight. What's Colin Ward in that classic Rothmans Williams colours going to be able to do to fend off the championship leader? Coming down towards Vale, and he covers over the inside line. Got to be careful not to get too wrong-footed, make a mistake. We saw Stephen Williams do that earlier, and wow, is he looking up the inside at the club corner of the Vale chicane? And we saw David Hatton try that earlier, and he very nearly lost it. But Henny very much stable and able to hold it together on that occasion. So final lap then. Can Colin Ward fend off the attack as Henny tries to go around the outside of Village? He'll have the line as he makes his way into the loop, but Colin Ward is not going to yield. But he's got it done. So can Colin Ward come back at him down the Wellington straight? Henny leads, but for how long? Down the straight they come. Ward's got a fantastic slipstream, and Henny is not giving him an inch on the left-hand side of the track. Ward's going to have to do it the long way round. Swoops round. Fantastic. Has he got a bit too wide, though? He has. And he could drop it. Oh, he's been able to hang on to it, but that surely is the end of this lead battle with half a lap to go. What a drive from Danny Henny, and I think this is only the second time this is going to happen where the same driver has won 2 races in one night. And again, another perk of the reverse grid format. Fantastic racing, as always, in the Formula Renault Challenge. So the battle for 5th place still not over. Drillsma has got Power ahead of him, but he's also got David Hatton right behind him, and Hatton could well make a move. Coming through Maggots and Beckett's now. Got a couple of opportunities left as they come towards the hanger straight for the final time. And Hatton needs every point he can muster, with Henny taking such a stride in the championship today. Drumsma covering off the inside line. Hatton's going to have to go the long way round as he swoops around the outside of Stowe Corner. What a move, and that's 6th place for him. And meanwhile, here comes Danny Henny. Another victory in the Formula Renault Challenge. He said he wanted to get 10 before the end of the season. He's done it tonight. His 10th victory in the series. Colin Ward, you put up a great fight, pal, but don't be too dejected with 2nd place. Edward Shelley, that's a remarkable podium for him. And Alex Van Gien comes home in 5th place. Carl Power in 5th. And David Hatton in 6th place. Alex Strelsma, he did get 7th in the end. Adam Rosales from reverse grid pole in 8th. Stephen Williams in 9th. And Brian Boozma did hang on to that 10th place spot. Wow, we have seen some fantastic racing tonight. Shall we get Henny in here?
Let's do it. And guys, stick around for
Hello,
the
Danny.
fun race on the stream. I'll be
Hello.
commentating.
So you said you wanted to get 10 victories before the end of the season. I didn't think you meant this quickly.
Well, I'll tell you what, after I made collision with Tim, which I've apologised about 100 times, I was fuming. In that race, I was absolutely fuming. So I don't know if you've seen the lap times. I was like 58.5, 58.6. And when I started this, I just said, let me have one clean lap on the first lap. And if I can get a bit of a break, then I'm putting my head down and I'm just throwing everything at it to get the win. So, yeah, I'm dead chuffed. I'm absolutely over the moon.
Is this your championship to lose now?
I'm not quite that confident. I'm confident, but not too much. It's fun. The guys really do push me. I mean, you wouldn't have heard it on the stream, but I was doing like the Jaws beat to Colin, telling him, I'm coming for you. The last lap, I'm having you. Don't make a mistake. Don't do this. It was absolutely great racing. I've just said to all of them. And Ed did not stick to the game plan. I said, don't do anything stupid and we can catch him. And then he come flying up the inside. But yeah, it was great. I've had so much fun. And as you can probably tell, I'm absolutely over the moon.
Well, it's the second round in a row. We've seen race 3 come down to the final lap. So brilliant entertainment. And of course, only the second time, I think, that somebody has won 2 races in the same night. And of course, that other time was you.
Yes, well, that was the aim. I must admit, I'm trying to double up now to try and get them, records a bit quicker. But
Good man.
Yeah, absolutely over the moon. Great event again. I'm looking forward to watching it back tonight with the commentary with yourselves.
Ah, thanks, man. Right, well, we'll let you get on. So congratulations once again, and we'll see you at the next round.
Thanks, guys.
Right, well, that was the 4th round of the Missed Apex Formula Renault Challenge. Stick around on this stream, though, because Spanners is going to take you through the fun race. Spanners, what can you tell us about the fun race?
It's going to be on the Silverstone National Circuit. It's a multi-class between some kind of Mazda single-seater, the F3, and the Radical. So chaos will ensue if you want to see the opposite to the professional driving we've seen here and see who comes out on top. Then join us for the fun race.
Chaos is always better. But for me, that's everything for all for tonight. So we'll see you at the next round. Bye-bye.
and welcome to the Missed Apex Fun Race. You just watched round 4 of our Formula Renault Challenge. Some really professional, tight racing, and not the carnage that we were used to in the early rounds. In fact, everybody conducted themselves to such a fantastic extent that the midfield mugs like me weren't able to climb the field just by staying on the track. So that series is getting ever more competitive, ever more challenging, and I find myself ever more down the grid. But we've moved on to the fun race, and we try to let off some steam after the high adrenaline, high octane competition of the Formula Renault Challenge. Normally, Chris Catman-Turner will take the comms for these fun races, and I'll participate, but Catman's not available today, so I am your host, Richard Spanners, ready, and I'll try my best to take you through the chaos of a multi-class event on a track that the drivers will be unfamiliar with. It is Silverstone, but it's the national layout, which is, well, if you thought Shakir was an oval-like track, then this certainly fits that bill as well. So that looks like we have had the qualifying session over, and we're waiting for the race to start now. Looking at the qualifying in the fastest class, which I believe, although I will wait for confirmation, which I believe is the single-seater Mazda. That's John Lang leading Sam Watley and Barry Kemp, and it looks like the second fastest class is the Formula 3s. So we've got Andy Flagg, Brian Boomsma, and Adam Rosales there in the Formula 3s, and then we've got the Radicals. Not many people have picked the Radicals. We've got Stephen Williams, Garen Batten, James Wingfield, and Mike Stoner. I think that will be a close battle there between Batten and Williams there. So let's look up at the front. John Lang, Sam Watley, Kemp, Shelley, Moreland. Who's my pick out of those? Well, John Lang's jumped to the pole position. However, Sam Watley, very much a steady Eddie, and Miguel Moreland, a bit of a scrapper there in 5th place as well. Looking at the Formula 3s then, right, red light, here we go for this fun race multi-class. The Mazdas lead us away. It is green, green, green. And let's see, there's some Formula 3s challenging. There's some contact up the front on the straight, and that is John Lang, who was spun out the front there. And Watley as well has gone off. No, Watley, I think, is at the front. I may have declared Watley's demise too early. Let's see, it is all Mazdas up at the front now with 2 Formula 3s. And I think that's Andy Flagg and Brian Boomsma who are making it work. So that's Boomsma is the top Formula 3, and he is up into 4th place as far as I can tell. And John Lang obviously has gone by the wayside, leaving Barry Kemp in 2nd place. I'm trying to figure out who that is up ahead. And that is Edward Shelley in 2nd, and Miguel Moreland up in 5th place as well. And that is Moreland has run off as well. So that's the end of Moreland's challenge too. My apologies, it was Weddle that went off. So I think we're looking at Sam Watley leading this event in the black car, with Edward Shelley up behind and Barry Kemp in 2nd place. And then the final Radical in that lead pack is Miguel Moreland, who had not gone off. And then we've got the F3s challenging. And this is going to be really interesting because we've got the fantastically fast Brian Boomsma and Andy Flagg and Gary Thomas in the Mazda fighting up front. Let's see what Watley can do under challenge from Edward Shelley. Edward Shelley up the inside. Watley, though, holds it on the inside of Luffield. I think that's Luffield. I didn't study the layout. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I know the national circuit is a lot shorter, and that is we'll figure it out together. But the important thing is Sam Watley has maintained that lead over Edward Shelley. And there's a comfortable gap, like a medium comfortable gap back to Barry Kemp, who now has to worry about Miguel Moreland. And the F3s are struggling to keep up. That's interesting. I had suspected that the F3s were going to have the ultimate pace before qualifying, but I think qualifying showed that it is the Mazdas up front. So Sam Watley looking like he's giving himself a bit of breathing room, and Edward Shelley perhaps not quite in a position to make a lunge now. So maybe we roll down the field a little bit and see what's going on with Miguel Moreland, who's having to... Oh, there's contact! Oh, no, Barry! You've turned Miguel around. Oh, whose fault was that? Let's guess. It's the car behind. Let's blame Barry for that. John McClintock looks like he's gone into 3rd place.
And behind John McClintock is Andy Flagg in the Formula 3. So I think that is our leading F3 versus Mazda championship. Look at Andy Flagg's livery there. That pink camo. Oh, absolutely delicious. And I think that's Tim Ellis coming up behind with the F3. And then Miguel Morland has actually recovered a little bit. Has Barry? Doesn't look, no, Barry's fallen right down the order. So let's go up to the front then, where it's looking a little bit more comfortable for Sam Watley. Look at those cars. Absolutely gorgeous. I've been saying Mazda, it's a Lotus, isn't it? I do beg your pardon. I'm so sorry. I beg your pardon. Of course it is. Catman would have done his homework. Let's see. I'm going to start sifting through the drivers and see if we can bring anybody in to talk to us. So it's not just me waffling on. Race Control will clear up which cars are which. And apologies for those of you who've been yelling at the screen, but it was only when I focused on Sam Watley's car and looked at how absolutely gorgeous it was that I realised I'd been saying the wrong car. We've got Race Control's Rich Molden in the commentary booth with us, setting up these sessions and being our race control as well. Hello, Richard.
Hello there. I was listening to your commentary earlier, Spanners, and I really have no idea how you were able to talk and drive these things at the same time.
Well, let's just put it down to me being absolutely amazing. Now, I was calling the front cars Mazdas. These are, of course, Lotuses up at the front.
Oh! Sorry, I'm struggling to hear you because all the cars around me are dying, but the Lotus 79s are properly woken up. They were very slow at the beginning, that first few laps. So I think they then switched their tyres up, and they are just swarming all over us F3 drivers.
Fantastic. Thank you, Richard. And what model is that? It's the Lotus what?
Lotus 79.
Lotus 79. You, of course, set up these fun tracks and picked the chaos, so well done to you. Thank you very much, Richard.
Thank you for having me on.
So then, as this chaos at the back shuffles through, we're watching Sam Watley. He's going quite well up at the front. And if we look back to Edward Shelley, that gap's looking comfortable. I think we could just completely throw Sam Watley off his game here by bringing him into the commentary booth. So Sam Watley, leader of this race, how does it feel to be dragged into a commentary booth and live stream when you're under the pressure of leading a race? And he's absolutely, of course, entitled to tell us to bug off. So that's absolutely fine. All right, Ed Shelley then. Now, they are lapping one of the radicals on the outside. Looking at the livery, I'm going to go ahead and guess that is, I reckon that's Andrew Sexton. No? That's Garen Batten, who is waking up in Australia. The same as our video editor, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to compete in this. And big shout out to Steve Amy. From Fitbit, not that Fitbit, the other one. He'll yell at me if I've got the name wrong. But yes, our video producer, he says I haven't got it wrong. And our video producer all the way down under, who's with us for all our live streams and our video editing, getting up the same as our Australian compatriots as well to come and take part in these sessions. Focusing on the leaders now as they start to overtake the radicals. Is this going to be an opportunity for Edward Shelley to catch up? Now, I'm looking at that F3. Who is that? The orange F3 in the background. That's Matt Cook. So he's a lap down. So that has very similar colours to Brian Boomsma. You might notice that some of the F3s have the swarm written on them. And that is, of course, the Missed Apex Challenge on the iRacing officials. So I'm going to go down the field and try and find a more interesting battle than Sam Watley expertly carving his way down the field. Let's see how Matt Trumpets is getting on. I've just clicked on him, and he is driving a black Lotus. And where is he? Well, he looks like he's down in around 14th place. And let's see if we can bully him as well. Yeah, he's... So we're joined in the commentary booth by Matt Trumpets, making his way up to Richard Molden, who's in the radical ahead. How's it going, Matt?
It's going all right.
How are you enjoying that beautiful Lotus? You've gone for an all-black livery.
Lotus is a bucket full of fun, my friend.
I bet. Are you faster than the radicals? You're going up the inside of Race Control Rich Molden there? Well, I tell you what, I've made talking whilst driving look easy. That's the problem. Oh, and look at that, Molden's gone off. Oh, behind Matt Trumpet. All right, let's look around for a battle to watch. Carl Power in the F3 is in amongst it, battling with Barry Kemp. Barry Kemp in the Mazda ahead of him, I think. It was so hard to keep our track of this in a multi-class. Barry Kemp up the inside. He's going for an overtake. I believe that is for a lapped position. But he is now chasing down Matt Trumpet. So he's 4 seconds behind Matt Trumpet up the road in his Lotus. And yeah, Carl Power sporting the default Swarm livery. So let's see if we can get a handle on this track as we follow Carl Power. He's ahead of Adrian Clark, doing really well to keep up with Carl Power as well. Carl Power is a bit of an alien when it comes to the F3 series, to be honest. Very, very quick. So what he's doing all the way back there, I don't know. He must have had some kind of incident. So let's see if we can see where we are. So I think this is the part of the track that diverts from the circuit we all know and love. And I think this links then onto the Wellington Straight. So we're down the Wellington Straight now, breaking into Brooklands with some spinners off to the side, and then into Luffield. There's no correct way to take Luffield, so don't stress too much. I think as he laps Boomsma and a spinning Formula 3 in front of him. The gap now up ahead to Matt Trumpets is only 3 seconds. So if we stick with Kyle, I think we're going to see him come through Barry Kemp, Matt Trumpets, and race control Richard Molden. But there's Boomsma behind him. Brian Boomsma, this is going to be a good battle to watch. Let's watch Boomsma and Power try and fight their way through the field. Oh, I thought there was going to be contact there. So here's the little link road between the back end of the circuit, sort of the Cops kind of area, which would go on towards the old bridge section. And then they now bomb down the Wellington Straight into Brooklands. Maybe we can get on board with Boomsma as he chases. Let's see, can we do that? Can we get on board with Boomsma? Can I request things? I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have that power, but there's Boomsma chasing down Kyle Power. And they're going to go into Cops now. And down a gear, maybe 2 if you're in the aero wash. He's in Kyle Power's wake. So we're on board with Boomsma. And then where you would normally disappear off into Maggots and Beckett's, you're going to brake hard. And you're going to take a right-hand turn and take a shortcut onto the Wellington Straight. As he shuffles a little bit wide. Interesting to see that challenge. Let's see, can we... I don't know if I can request things. Let's move forward. Let's move on board with Kyle Power. See if we can ride with Kyle as he chases down Richard Molden. He's 2 seconds behind now, so we can see Molden in the F3 ahead. And his next target ahead of that will be Barry Kemp. And oh dear, what's happened to Sam Watley? Well, we've been watching this. All right, let's divert our attention for a little bit and let's watch Sam Watley, who's lost a little bit of ground. So now, Sam Watley finds himself a second behind Andy Flagg in the Formula 3. He's done an overtake on the outside. He cuts inside to Brooklands to get down the inside of... that's Andy Flagg there, and that's Miguel Moreland ahead, but Miguel's in the Radical. Running a bit wide is Sam here on the outside of Luffield, but he's lost a lot of time, and Edward Shelley is now all out on his own. So this should be easy for Watley up the inside, but he's hit the barrier. Oh no, Sam, what have you done? You've had a nightmare. Damage is off on these cars though, so he will be able to continue. Damage typically is off for these fun races. But, oh dear Sam, now he's been swamped. Andy Flagg is back past him. Tim Ellis is hounding him behind as well. Unlucky Sam. And let's have a look at Moreland there, who was in a little bit of chaos too. Too much chaos to keep up with. Edward Shelley. Yeah, Edward Shelley clear out the front in that Parmalat sponsored car. Let's see if what team is the Parmalat sponsorship typically? Steve, you're old. Come on, tell me. Help me out. I know it invokes memories, but I just can't put my finger quite on what. So Miguel Moreland, 4 seconds off the lead in that Lotus, and then Andy Flagg is really close actually in the Formula 3. So Andy Flagg, unsurprisingly, is performing really well in that Formula 3 with Sam Watley chasing him down behind. Now, can Watley salvage a podium after taking himself out twice, it seems? And yeah, I have to say, that was probably of his own doing, it was probably optimistic to go up the inside. They're the normal lines to cut right close to the barrier as he goes down the inside of, that's not flag, that's a back marker. And that is, I recognise the livery, but it's not coming to me. Looking at the list of names to see if I can. It's Jack Weddle, yes, up there. You do get to know people's colours the more you watch the Missed Apex series. Not everyone changes them for the fun race, but Weddle clearly has there. He has an absolutely beautiful Formula 3 livery as well. So I'm watching Sam Watley. He is, yeah, so he's a second now off Andy Flagg. Now, no offence to Mr. Watley, who we've been watching in the lead of this race. However, I think Andy's the better driver overall. Andy is, however, in the F3, and Sam Watley is in the Lotus, which is giving...